Okay, I thought I would do a review of these. Review, not really review, show and tell, because you decide. But anyway, these are Stabilo Woody 3-in-1s. I got them on Amazon. I'll put the link on my website. I was surprised the Amazon price was like $10 less than Jerry's Artarama, where I also look for supplies and compare prices. So they were about $36. And they claim to be like a coloring pencil, watercolor, and wax crayon in one, soft and rich color application, and high brilliance and covering capacity. So I was expecting a lot because, you know, I think that's pricey, $36 for 18 of these. So let's see, I did play with them a little bit on some abstracts. The only thing I haven't tried yet is adding water, so let's do that. They're really chunky and nice to hold. I do like that, and they are creamy and soft. Now, I already found that when I used, which I don't use very often because it's too textured, a really high-end watercolor paper like Arches, it's so grainy that the crayon just sort of sits on top on the top of those crevices, but if that's what you want, that's okay, but I wanted it to fill in more. So I was gonna see what happens if I added some water, because I don't understand how it can be a wax crayon and watercolor all in one, because those seem to be kind of opposite. So it is breaking down with the water. Interesting. Yeah, you can see that it is, but it's not giving me pigment that I would get from paint, certainly, but it is giving me an interesting kind of waxy wash almost. So that's kind of interesting. So I think if you want that bumpy look, they're good for that. Let's try it down here. Here's where I made 2 different colors. Okay, so it's blending them nicely. All right, I like what that's doing. It's giving me kind of a really textured, waxy, washy kind of thing happening there. All right, let's try on smooth paper. This is Bristol. No, this is just a smooth watercolor. Yeah, I don't think it's Bristol. It might be Bristol. No, it's not. Okay. And I put it on last night, and I loved how I could rub it in. So I took, let's see, well, here I did oil pastel here, but I took some of the crayon and went around in here, just working on layers on this one. So let's see what happens if then I put the dark black here, and you can see that it didn't fill in all the crevices, which might be fine. Yeah, so it is kind of coming up with water. Interesting. I did it right here too. I like this color. Of course, you know I love teal, and I did that right there, and I do like how that looks. And I don't want to wet that because I like that gave me that textured look. So I think in combination with other things, let's try it on just a plain piece of paper and see what it does. So when you color with it, it is kind of like a combination between a crayon and a colored pencil, and then I was rubbing it too to see if I could get any blending, and it does blend a little bit. Now let's add water. So it is water soluble, and it softens the color but still leaves kind of a grain. Let's see what happens if I don't rub it and I just wet it. All right, I do like that because it's giving me the wash over, and if I don't want to scrub a lot, I can still see those lines underneath. And I like that, gives you some texture. And you can color mix. Let's say I wanted a lime green. Yeah, that's pretty. So they're an interesting tool in the toolbox. They do have some pretty colors. I like this flesh color. I think I used it quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, I used it quite a bit on this one. Up in here, I had painted, but I went over it again in some of the flesh tones. And they have gold and then a metallic silver, which I used a little bit. I used the gold here. It's not super shimmery, but it definitely has a little bit of a sheen to it. So I would say I like their colors for sure. I think it just depends on whether you want, you know, you can get the different effects. So you can get that kind of effect. If you rub it, you can get a little bit of something, but not like an oil pastel. And then you can wet it as well. So I would say, oh, so now when I added more color, I could rub it more. So I would say that their description of it being a crayon, a colored pencil, and a watercolor crayon in one is probably true. Okay, hope you have fun if you get the Stabilo Woodies. That's what they're called, 3-in-1 Woodies.